Hello and thanks for tuning in. I'm Nick with Tigley Fabrications, and today we're going to go over the fundamentals of installing a diesel heater in your Gen 2 or Gen 3 Toyota Tacoma. I've had a lot of questions about various aspects of this, and I hope to cover all that today. Let's get started. All right, our first step is going to be to familiarize ourselves with our diesel heater and all its components. So this isn't a true unboxing. This has been open, and I'm not going to go into super detail on every single aspect of it, but I just want to show you all the parts, and we're going to break it down into three simple systems, which would be the heater controller, the 12 volt, and the diesel fuel supply. So as you can see, this is our heater. This is a 2 kilowatt Max Speedings rods. So this one I like just because some of the things that it comes with. It comes with this, I believe it's an 11-liter fuel tank. And then we've got the bulk of it here. So we've got a wiring harness. We'll go over that. We've got our tubing. So this is going to be for the fresh air that comes in, the heated fresh air. This is going to be for the air supply for combustion. This is going to be for the exhaust from the combustion process. There's a muffler. And then we have our supplied fuel line. Fuel pump. This would be if you wanted to have multiple, diffusers distributing the heat, probably for a van installation, not so much for what we're doing. This is the diffuser that comes with it. This controller, quite a few people have talked about this one and done some pretty decent content on it, videos showing how to use them. This is a remote. I've never used one of these for a diesel heater, but kind of a cool feature. We've got a fuel filter. This one's pretty bulky. I went with something a little different, and you'll get to see that soon. This kit, generous as it is, came with some nice gloves. These look pretty decent and actually would be very useful in this process. This is some heat tape for putting over the exhaust. All right, and our box of hardware. So this has all the little itty bits and pieces that you need to mount things. We've got a heater. We've got a controller for that heater. We've got our fuel system. To include the tank, the line, the pump. If there's one thing that I really appreciate about the Chinese diesel heaters, it's the simplicity. So our wiring harness is all connected now. We're plugged into our diesel heater. We're plugged into our diesel fuel pump. We're plugged into our controller. What that leaves is a ground wire. We have our 12 volt power lead. These are the only two things that we need to connect, electrically speaking. Everything else is complete at this point. So the next thing we need to do is we need to determine where our 12 volt supply is going to come from, along with our diesel fuel supply. We're going to use my truck as an example. There are a lot of different locations for your 12 volt supply, along with your diesel tank. From there, it's just going to be a matter of routing things differently. So in my setup, I'm actually using this Gracell 2000 watt hour battery bank right here. This plug right here provides ample power for the entire camper. It covers the energy use requirements for the heater along with my refrigerator and the lights that I have currently. So you can see that wire goes up into the chase here, or the fuselage, and then it goes up into this fuse block. So the big red wire that you see on the right hand side there, that is actually what's going to my diesel heater. So it goes down into the fuselage. My positive and my negative do, and they come out right here. So I've put a quick disconnect on mine. This is an XT60 fitting They're soldered on, actually on both sides, okay? So this is coming from the fuse block that we just looked at. This is actually going down to the heater. And the way I routed that was through this 1¼ inch hole with a little firewall plug right there. So this is the power. This is actually the controller wire. So it comes off my wiring harness that sits right around in here. That controller wire is going to go up the fuselage all the way up. You can see it tucked in back in here. And then it makes this turn right here. And there's where my controller sits right there. So it can be accessed from down below and can be easily accessed from up above. This is my diesel fuel tank located on the driver's side of the truck. Makes for easy fueling. If we look under here, you can see where the fuel line comes out of the tank and goes through a hole in the truck bed there. It has a little grommet to protect it. Now we'll go underneath and see exactly how that fuel line goes across. That's where the fuel line comes out of the bed and then is secured to the sidewall there. I'm going to zoom in here for you. You can see I have it secured to the bed there, and there's multiple securement points like that going across to the other side of the truck. You can see another one right there. Going over this brace here for the spare tire, I have some fuel line over the outside of the provided fuel line just for protection. I just want to zoom in on that. That black fuel line there is purely for abrasion resistance. Coming over to this side, you can see where the fuel line is. Again, here's our fuel pump. On the passenger side of the vehicle, where our fuel line goes into the bottom of the diesel heater. It is important to have this diesel heater at a 30 to 45 degree angle. Not only does it prolong the life of the diesel pump, but it also makes for quieter function. So hopefully looking at the location of my battery supply and my fuel tank, it'll give you some ideas of possibilities. I would like to show a couple things that are universal though with the installation that I think are good ways to streamline the installation. So that's what we'll do next. When installing the diesel fuel system, I would make this connection last. And the reason being is I like to put diesel through to the last possible point when you're filling up the fuel supply system. Come down here, and if you can clamp this hose with something, I use some vice grips with a little bit of rubber on the actual gripping part so it wouldn't damage the hose. And I filled up 2 liters in there. And then from there, I went down below. After filling the tank, I came down here and positioned my filter upright like this and had someone unclamp the vice grip for me. That way, the diesel fuel would slowly rise up and push all the air out of the filter. So the diesel fuel doesn't travel extremely fast through that tubing, which gives you enough time to make this last connection as you see it coming down. The advantage of doing it this way is you have less time for that fuel to get to the pump and then to the heater, allowing for a much quicker priming time. Once our fuel line is all connected, that's when I like to secure it nice and firm. So I'm using a Scotch double face tape. This stuff is rated to 60 kilos. All right, so we've got our 12-volt power supply connected. We've got our diesel fuel supply connected and secured. Now we just need to hook up our combustion intake and exhaust. So that little cone that you see there, that would be the combustion intake. I'm going to zoom in here. That guy right there. This bronze colored pipe, that's the combustion exhaust. You can see it comes out, goes through the actual silencer, and then travels down the backside right. Thanks for following along today. I hope that answers your questions and helps you get things going so you can get out there and have fun this winter.